Tag, Tesla Nation. Willkommen in Tesla Leben. Giga Berlin hat begonnen und es ist wunderbar. Nun Sie, Renngastgeber, Herr Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Life number 246. What a fantastic entry! Patrick leaded it in. That was fantastic. I don't speak German, but man, I gotta believe that sounded pretty good in both languages.
From what I know of German, it sounded all right.
Well, German listeners out there, feel free to tell me how horrible I botched that.
Right, that part.
Here we are, the 23rd of March, 2022, and this is a very special Tesla Life because we are going to lead with a big story that we've all been waiting for some time. But first, let's introduce Mr. Patrick Connor joining us from the West Coast. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. Hello out there, Tesla Nation. And, you know, I'm just going to have to admit it. Mark won. And it was a close race, way closer than it should have been. But I'm glad to that Austin put a little pressure on Germany. And I really think Austin could have delivered a week or two ago, but Musk didn't want to shame them like that. So he made Austin wait. I'm going to believe that in my heart forever, no matter what truth is out there.
Well, I mean, there's truth out there. We got a story coming up about Austin, and
exactly. And that, of course, is Mr. Casey Green. How are you today, sir, from the DC area?
Doing pretty well. Trying to stay out of the rain, but my wife doesn't want me to stay out of the rain. She wants me traipsing through it.
There is rain all over the map today, as Hockey Day has indicated. It's wet everywhere. So, yes, try to stay dry out there, people. But that's our first story, is Giga Berlin has not only announced, they filmed it. And they delivered 30 vehicles to customers. Elon Musk flew in personally and delivered the first handful out of the factory. Did his dad dance?
His dad dance.
He pushed a few camera drones around as he was there, and made a little speech about welcoming the new factory online, and indicating that Germany is taking a big step forward in sustainable energy, allowing the plant to start and produce vehicles that are going to be widely accepted throughout Europe. So it was a great little ceremony. You could see the Model Y performances that were given out. You could see a number of the happy customers getting into the vehicle for the first time and driving it out through a series of pyrotechnics on the way out, and out onto just right out of a delivery dock onto the Giga Berlin grounds, and there a group of employees still outside clapping and applauding as the vehicles started to leave the plant. There was a number of different coverages that we saw on our Twitter feed and elsewhere. It looked like a great event. Elon, after the first deliveries, got up in front of a group of employees and guests outside the factory and talked to them, answered questions, went through a number of different answers based on the crowd questions, talked generally about where Tesla believes the plant will be, what its contribution will be, and what the next steps are. Wasn't anything brand new that we heard through this, but it was nice to see him interacting with the employees of the factory. And maybe Patrick had taken a cue from Elon, because he had made part of a little bit of his speech in German to the crowd's delight. So that was good to see as well. But
yeah, that was exactly why I did that. I saw him reading off of his cue cards in German. I'm like, I can. My German's at least better than his.
So they added a teleprompter feature to this live stream software. I could have done
Oh,
that.
nice.
Next week, Casey. Next week.
Nah. Maybe I can do it in Texan.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Y'all welcome to Tesla Live.
Yeah, and as Patrick mentioned in the opening, this was a close race between Austin and Berlin, and
It shouldn't have been with
it
6 months head
should
start.
not have been, because of course when Patrick and I made the bet as to which plant would be delivering to customers first, I had a 6-month lead when this thing started, or approximately 6 months.
Mine was already half running.
Well, of course, yeah. There was no real race involved with Shanghai, was there? But
No.
it certainly was between Berlin and Austin was right down to the wire. And in fact, I had almost conceded a couple weeks ago because Texas was running so fast, wide open, and vehicles were starting to appear outside the factory. They were being trucked off. They were typically all in one color at that point, but maybe testing. I'm not really sure where they went.
Crash test.
We know that at least 5 truckloads of Model Ys had left in that 2-week period, but where they went, what they were doing, never really found out.
They didn't make it to the demo lots.
The drone army doesn't stray too far from Giga Texas, obviously. Otherwise, we would have known where these vehicles went. But
The batteries only get you so far when the plant's a mile in length.
yeah, so it's it's interesting. We're really not sure at this point what Austin is up to. Besides, of course, the upcoming GigaFest has been approved and is going to move forward. There's going to be obviously a ceremony there. There's going to be 15,000 people there. So maybe that is what they're waiting for.
Maybe they're waiting for the Texas legislature to close again without saying they can actually sell cars there.
Well, we know they can't sell cars there, right? Like, that's a
Right.
foregone conclusion. We knew that once the Texas legislature took a break, we knew the next time they're going to look at it was going to be 2 years from then.
Yeah.
So, that was half a year ago that they had taken a break without actually addressing the issue of can Tesla sell cars within the state of Texas.
What are they doing now? Special sessions to restrict people to do stuff, or is that regular business?
I don't know. I'm not really sure about that. So I did understand from when we knew the legislature was coming up, there had been a track record that they have never gotten together in between sessions. So as far as we knew, it was going to be a 2-year wait in between sessions, as has always been the case for that group of legislators. So as far as I know, they've got a year and a half to wait now. So
they do. But Scooter called him back to talk about healthcare rights and gun rights. No time to squeeze in one of your largest employers there.
Gun rights. Yeah. I wonder why. Yeah. So, but no, congratulations to those new owners. Congratulations to Giga Berlin getting its final approval and being able to produce vehicles and start the delivery throughout Europe. So now comes the ramp up and getting the volume that they're going to want to see. But would you guys agree that you think this is going to be a much smoother ramp up than others we've seen earlier in the Tesla life?
It could be. I mean, they've had several times to learn how to do this, and they've got a modern plant now that they've done it in Germany. So now it's just a larger modern plant there in Texas.
The Model Y has been their best ramp. in their history, and that's the vehicle they're starting with. So that's all a good sign. And especially you're talking about Berlin. They're not starting with the 4680. They're still using
Right.
2170s there, so they won't have any stumbling blocks with that. So that should help get it going quickly.
Yep. Yeah, and as Wasim was talking about, you can order it online and you'll get it, but it won't. If you're in Texas, it won't come from the Texas plant unless they do some of these workarounds we've talked about. And I
Yeah.
wonder if it's some final buttoning of the 4680s, or if it's just the legal loopholes they have to drive a Tesla semi through, or
Will it be the Oklahoma loop that saves Texas deliveries, or will it be the New Mexico loop?
I don't know. It can be Oklahoma, because Oklahoma's talking about not letting them sell there either.
Well, they're talking about it, but it hasn't happened yet. So get a few of those trucks across the line, sign the paperwork, and drive them back.
Yeah,
They'll go to Mexico if they have to.
Oh, that would be terrible, wouldn't it?
it'd be a lot slower than going to Mississippi.
Yeah, had to go to another country to get it stamped. Yeah, it's.
Oh, that would really piss them off. Hey, not only can you not get it here, your car has also got a Mexico sticker on it, in addition to not being made down the street.
Yeah,
what would
approved in
upset
Mexico sticker
Texas?
on the side. Yeah.
New Mexico.
Terrible. Well, it's it's started. We'll have to see if the ramp up becomes smoother, faster. We'll have to see if they've learned a few things and have been able to transfer that to a brand new factory. Man, I hope they get a few people, a few of the higher ups from Shanghai over there to Berlin to help smooth things along, because as we saw with Shanghai, it ramped up extremely fast,
and they could take a speed bump.
Yeah, and that certainly would help them out. But there's going to be a large demand in Europe. The factory is going to employ a whole lot of Germans, and one thing that people don't really look at is the difficulty in opening any plant in Germany with the environmental problems, blocks, different interest groups that we had saw along the way, the cardboard forests, the bats, the ants, all these different interest groups pushing to slow or stop. Tesla's been able to overcome those hurdles, albeit it took longer than we expected, but glad to see it's now up and running, and it can now start to roll out. Another interesting fact is that they've been approved for 500,000 vehicles per year. So Germany's even put a cap at this point as to what the annual volume of vehicles coming out of the plant is. Now, I'm sure it'll be a lot easier to bump that up as time goes along, but especially if Tesla is hitting the different numbers that they have indicated about, water treatment, how much they're using, the different aspects of the contract that they've signed with the German government, the different metrics that they have to track what the plant is doing and what type of environmental impact it's having on the local area. So
they need bathroom passes. don't flush that too many times.
Oh my gosh. We're saving water. Yeah, exactly. I
mean, the electric cars just don't use that much water. Hockey Day's got a good next one. So how are we going to measure that? Is it going to be from time to open to 5,000, or the first one to hit 5,000?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think they're
everybody put your numbers down in the chat.
Ramp pretty quickly. For Berlin, getting open was the big hurdle, right? For all the reasons you just mentioned. I don't think, and then they have that cap, but there's nothing except their own know-how stopping them from ramping. And as we just talked about, they've done this a few times before already, so I think it's going to be pretty quick.
Yeah. And then the hardest part for Texas will be figuring out how they're going to deal with the dealer lobby.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that is going to be a hurdle they're going to have to overcome at a later time.
Hockey Day says 5 months.
5 months.
Say 3 months.
Does anybody know off the top of your head how long it took in Shanghai on the Model Y?
Yeah, about
Have
4
they
days.
hit-
No idea. No, didn't track that type
They
of
started with threes
minute
there.
detail.
Yeah, they started with 3s. And they weren't single castings either.
That's true.
Now, we know that Model Y is going to be the one and only, rolling out of Berlin for some time. It'd be interesting to see, will the Model 3 ever show up
They haven't
as a
rolled it
build
out.
in Berlin in some point down the road? Obviously, Tesla's constrained by batteries. That's been the story now for over a year, and that continues to be the story. So I think they're probably going to put their batteries in the vehicle that they can sell the most, and just concentrate on ramping up for the time being. So no Model 3 to begin with, but down the road, I would expect Model 3 would make a line for the Model 3 at some point. And of course, they'd be able to do that in tandem. Once they get everything ramping and moving smoothly, the groups that help with the ramp, they could start building another line. Whether it be another Model Y line or another a different, we'll have to see. But that certainly would be interesting.
That's what the Cybertruck is for, Hockey Day.
German
that is the German
wagon.
station wagon, Cybertruck. Yeah.
So
cool,
interesting,
Derek.
because if they did, this would be a chance to do a Model 3 2.0 or upgrade it, do things like the single casting and structural battery
4680s,
pack, and things that the Model Y has been getting first. They can now bring those over to the 3 if they open a new line and a new factory for it.
Yeah, especially with the, was it 70% commonality or more?
Right. So you wouldn't, if the Y has been moving ahead, you wouldn't want the 3 to fall behind, because then you don't have as much commonality. So you'd want to try to keep them in lockstep.
At least at each individual factory, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Very good. Well, next, before Elon arrived in Germany, he had been tweeting, which is no big surprise. That happens daily. But he talked a little bit about introducing or working on the Master Plan 3. Elon, of course, has made 2 previous master plans. These are ambitious targets that he puts out there, really forward-thinking type targets. And of course, if you look at Master Plan 1 and 2, you will notice that a number of the items on Master Plan 2 have not been completed. In fact, on Master Plan 2, I believe robotaxis was part of it.
Here, I can read. Let's start with 1 first, just to
go ahead.
Kind of do the whole thing. Yeah. So, Master Plan Part 1 was create a low volume car, which would necessarily be expensive. So that was their first roadster. Use that money to develop a medium volume car at a lower price. So that was the Model S, and then Model X is probably 2.5 of that. Then use that money to create an affordable high volume car, Model 3. So they got through all 3 of those and provide solar power. So while doing the above, provide solar power, which was the Solar City acquisition. So they've gotten through all of Part 1. Then Part 2 was create stunning solar roof with seamlessly integrated battery storage. Expand the electric vehicle product line to address all major segments. Not quite done.
No.
Develop a self-driving capability that is 10x safer than manual via massive fleet learning. And the last line is enable your car to make money for you when you aren't using it.
That's going to be a little while.
Yes. So yeah, and
it's human.
You can't have the robotaxi until you have the self-driving capability. So 4 is dependent on 3. So yeah, they've got solar roof, and that was painful. There was a while where they had to jack the prices up because it was taking them too long to install, but they have it working now. And then expand into all major segments. Well, they have a long way to go, but they've back from the days where they only had one vehicle at a time. It seemed like now they're actually doing more there. So we have at least 4 of them going now.
With 3 more on the way.
Yep,
Right. Yeah.
they're in the
Although
pipeline.
yeah. So now that's 1 and 2, and it makes sense that when 2 came out, they were not done with 1 yet. So now they're working on 3, and 2's not done yet. So what do you guys think will be in 3?
Well, he has given a hint that it's not going to be just Tesla related. It's also going to
Right.
include SpaceX and the Boring Company. So,
then that'll be the umbrella company, X.
Right. X.com. Yeah, so this is the X.com master plan. That's a big deal. So yeah, other than maybe Solar Roof, he doesn't tend to mention specific products. Instead, this is supposed to be an overarching, big vision. And so I think it's going to be something huge, like move the world's economy to sustainable energy. That's a big vision right there. And then if you want to include the Boring Company, it's going to be something equally big, like eliminate traffic congestion from the world.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And we know how much he's been into the Tesla bot. At the last investor call, he wouldn't shut up about Tesla bot.
Yeah.
So that's on his mind. But he's not going to say bring Optimus subprime to market. That's not a big vision. That's a product. And
not only that, he's already announced it, and so it's just a matter of getting it done.
Exactly. So instead, it's going to be something like create a general purpose artificial intelligence to span the world to grow the world economy.
Safely.
Something on that. Yes. Yes. Safely. Right. Yes.
To remove constraints of limitations of labor, something like that.
Right. Yeah. And then how do we put SpaceX in that? Well, if you put tunnel machines and robots and Tesla bots on Mars, now
build a colony.
Right. So that's all 3 of them right there working together on one. And way back when I wrote Musk's real secret master plan is to develop sustainable technologies for Mars, and in doing so, make Earth sustainable.
Right.
And it was like this crazy harebrained idea. And then I posted it on, or someone posted it on Reddit. They loved it. And now, like, everyone's like, "Oh, that's so obvious." But at the time, it was like, "That's a crazy idea." But I think it's become more obvious that that's really been he's been obsessed with Mars since before Tesla existed, and so if you start if you're thinking about that, well, you can't just go drill for oil on Mars for transportation, and you can't just live on the surface. You have to being underground is the easiest way. So anyway, I think that's the final big picture there is taking these technologies in the whole Muskiverse and putting them on Mars via SpaceX.
Yep, and creating a new community that gives Earthlings the ability that we become multiplanetary.
Right, and Mars has to be able to sustain itself, and it can't be dependent on Earth. I mean, every day, hundreds of people, thousands of people, maybe go scuba diving, and they're under the ocean, right? But we haven't colonized under the ocean, but yet we're there all the time. People aren't living down there, so just going to Mars and coming back, that's not a sustainable. That's like scuba diving. You take the oxygen, the atmosphere you need with you, and you come back in time before you run out of the stuff that you needed to survive. So getting it to a point where it's not dependent on Earth, that's the big thing that has to happen. We're not truly multiplanetary until we could survive.
Until you can stay there without connection to Earth, right?
Exactly.
The way that Musk always says is what happens when the ships stop coming for whatever reason, political war, extinction event.
Right.
You don't want to have both planets die out just because you don't have what you need on the second planet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Although we should probably also start a
and
sea colony by now. Yeah, just try it out.
Corey's
It's
saying,
a lot easier to rescue those people.
Corey's indicating there are hotels under the ocean. Not really.
Oh.
They're connected to Earth with tunnels.
Right,
So,
tunnels and
Right.
bridges.
Yeah, they're not on their own, just floating there or underneath.
They don't
they are
generate their
definitely
own
connected to the
atmosphere.
mainland.
They don't grow their own food. They're not sustainable. Yeah, but that is cool. I did not know that there were hotels under the ocean.
Yeah, they've got a variety. Like some of them are like submarine, like they will like sink and come back. Others are like the glass bottom boat situation. Like there's like a level, like you can sit in the fishbowl, and then others are like partially submerged. There's a variety of them, and they're quite fun.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Moving on, Casey, are you familiar with the story we did a few weeks ago about the AI Addict?
This guy is why I stopped pursuing my plans to become a Tesla employee.
There you go. What happened with him?
Well, you see, Tesla is really, really strict on their social media policy, and really only Elon and a handful of top-level executives are allowed to talk about the company on social media or YouTube or anything like that. So once I started the YouTube channel, I was like, do I really want to be a part of Tesla? I'd have to shut down my YouTube channel or drastically change the focus. Well, this guy here, he worked on the autopilot team, and we showed his video a couple weeks ago where he he let his car run into the bolliard rather than grab the wheel and stop it from spinning, or just counter steering or whatever. It didn't do much damage, but he was probably already on thin ice for sharing anything in the public. But then to have a negative in any stance, a negative out there, it doesn't let him go.
We at the time did not know he was a Tesla employee.
No, I didn't know either. Yeah.
No, but we did say that he wasn't exactly.
We thought he was going to get fired from the beta program.
Right, yes, yeah. They're going to pull his FSD for that.
And they did!
Yes, they
with
did.
his job.
Yep.
Well, they kept his FSD. Like
he has the FSD
happened in his own car.
Yeah.
With his own autopilot that he had paid for.
Right.
But he was using other cars for testing for Tesla. But obviously, he was intimately involved with what Tesla could do and what their future plans are, or future versions that haven't been released to the public yet. He certainly had access to that with his Tesla car. But you're right. It's clearly stated when you sign up to work for Tesla that they don't want people that are publicizing about what's going on behind the scenes of Tesla. And if you do provide some insight into that and Tesla doesn't like it, they're going to get rid of you just like they got rid of this guy. So beware if you're working both sides, because if you make the wrong move, your job is probably gone.
Yeah, like when I changed jobs recently, like both times when I changed jobs recently, I made sure that they knew on my declaration of conflicts of interest. I've said, I do this, and they're like, well, what does that have to do with what we do? And I said nothing, but I don't want you to come back and say, hey, you do this thing on the side. Yeah, well,
right.
You knew about it. You signed on it.
Right. Yes, that's the right way to do it. Because who knows, if you're working somewhere, maybe they take on a new project, and so their goals change, and all of a sudden you should have disclosed it, or it might even be some division you didn't even know exists. And so, yeah, just disclose it. It's the best way to go. It's
the easiest way, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so my understanding is the guy didn't lose his FSD package, but he did lose the FSDBeta software, is what the articles I read said.
Mm.
So you're saying the ones you read, he didn't get kicked out of the program?
He didn't get kicked out of the program, as far as I know.
Yeah. Well, so he better hope he can get some sponsorship.
One of them that I read said that Tesla employees were given FSD for free.
Right.
And so then he didn't pay for it. Yeah.
Well, he did pay for it. The article indicated that he paid out of his own pocket for his own vehicle to have FSD.
Yeah. A lot of them got either a discount or paid full price, depending on when.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know the details.
But just because you have the FSD package doesn't mean that you have any rights to the FSD beta. They can still kick you out of the beta.
Yeah, they can kick you out for any reason.
Right.
It doesn't even have to have a reason. That's what
Right,
you
they can just
signed
feel
up
like it.
for. They can say, I don't like I don't like the hat you wear in your car, and you're out. That's all there is to it. So that is a possibility. So they definitely have control of that because, of course, as Patrick has mentioned, they don't want negative press as they're in a beta program. They don't want people to publicize that, oh, this is bad. There's issues with this because of this. They don't want any of that. And in order to avoid it, when you sign up for the beta program, you throw away your rights to that because they're saying you play by our rules or you don't play at all.
Yeah, but they're getting in some trouble for that because National Traffic Highway Safety Association is like, we depend on drivers to be able to report these things. But reporting it to them is not the same as I'm putting it up on YouTube to get clicks
Right.
with first Tesla crash ever.
Yeah.
That and doing any of that as an employee is a whole nother level because they do have, because our way our labor is structured here, they do have a little bit more control over what you can say, depending on when you signed up and what was in that employment agreement.
And again, this is a beta program.
Right.
This is not the full package that's being given to everybody. This is a testing thing that people are well aware that it's all part of a test, not
Right.
not for public consumption. So
Yeah, Casey and I have both talked about it makes mistakes. It's beta, and we're paying attention, and we correct it and say, no, don't turn into that bus lane or whatever it might. Don't drive off this bridge. That would be bad. And
Hey, that light is red. You should stop for it. Or worse is when it is stop for it, but it treats it like a stop sign. It's like, brake.
well,
But if you're not paying
next,
attention, it just goes through, and that's
let's go
what they don't
underground
want.
next.
Yeah, let's
So,
go underground.
The Boring Company has announced that it is now in discussions with San Antonio, Texas. So we knew about the Loop project in San Antonio from downtown to the airport and back again. And now San Antonio has indicated that they are now in conversations and negotiations with the Boring Company as to what this project will look like, what route it will take, and what the costs would be. So very general talks at this point, obviously, because you've got to start nailing down how far do you want it to go? What is its main purpose or purposes? Are they going to build in future expansion plans to it? Are they taking, we're going to do one line of, X amount of miles. And after that, we could see it spreading to here and there and other places. So it's good to see that the Boring Company is now starting to put some rubber on the road in different cities across the U.S. After that Las Vegas success, we got Fort Lauderdale now that is moving along in the, I guess that would be in the planning stage. And now we've got San Antonio that's in the negotiation stage where they're looking at what it would be and what it would cost and where it would go.
They actually got a competing bid this time. It wasn't very good, obviously, but
no, it wasn't.
They're like, let's put buses in tunnels and also in the air, and at least they made them electric buses. But you need a bigger tunnel for a bus. That's more expensive.
Yeah, you definitely need a bigger tunnel for a bus. But of course, we've talked about this before. The Boring Company has talked about a second larger tunnel. They've talked about for moving freight. So that's a possibility too. And of course, maybe that would just fit the Tesla Semi with a trailer.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
I want to see a stretch augmented Model Y for the Boring Company.
I want to see an eight-wing Falcon Door Model X.
Oh, that would be awesome. I believe I can fly.
That would make the Christmas dance a little interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Switching over to the Asian side of the world, Casey, what's going on with Giga Shanghai? What has just happened?
So Giga Shanghai had themselves a little bit of a interesting time. They had to shut down for 2 days And then they decided they would run 2-day shifts where the employees are going to live in the factory. And the reason they had to shut down was because they are having another explosion of coronavirus, because that's what happens every time we remove mask mandates all around the world. It's a big surprise. So they had to have the 2 shifts can't interact at all, and then they have to have testing at both when they leave and when they come back. So the shutdown allowed them to come up with this plan and allowed them to actually implement all the processes as far as cleaning the factory, making sure that the 2 sides didn't pass, getting the people to agree to sleep in the factory, and amazingly, some of Tesla's suppliers in China are doing the same rigorous procedure with the folks sleeping in their plants. That way, you can actually make a vehicle, because if you don't have any parts coming in, it makes it really hard to do anything other than make parts of a car. And I thought that was pretty thoughtful on their part. And
it's certainly a lot of precision, right? They took 2 days, not weeks, 2 days to reset and plan, and then after 48 hours they started up operations again, and they've been running the rest of the week. So it's interesting, but of course, labor is a different thing in China than it is here in North America. Think you'd have a real hard time in getting people to spend the night at their jobs every day, for an extended period of time. I think that would be very difficult in the job market that is here in North America and Europe, for that matter.
It's a massive overtime you do.
China is a different story when it comes to labor.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah. With that,
so that won't hurt so bad on David's 2.2 million. They did say for the quarter they're down 150,000 cars, but I have a feeling that now that they have that implemented, that it won't be anywhere near as dramatic, and hopefully the stock market will reward them for that. As Hockey Day pointed out, they closed at almost $1,000 again.
Yeah, so I feel pretty lucky that I was able to pick some up in the high 700s not that long ago. So that little dip there worked out as a great buying opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yep, for sure.
Speaking of opportunities,
again, this is not stock advice, so just keep that in mind.
No, it is stock advice. If you can go back and buy it at $780 and sell it today at $1,000.
It's general stock advice, right? Buy low, sell high.
Sell high.
Yeah. General stock advice.
Yeah.
Next, Tesla had been prompted in a survey about autonomous driving, and Tesla came out on top as to the #1 brand that would be trusted to complete safely autonomous driving access. And there we go. Got the chart up here. So out of the respondents, they're on top with 32%. Toyota is coming second. 19%.
Amazingly.
Here's an interesting little thing. The older you were in the survey, the older your age was, the more you tended towards Toyota. The younger you were in the survey, you tended towards Tesla. So that's what they took from it. And of course, here's another interesting thing. Apple is halfway through the chart, and as far as I know, Apple has no skin in the game whatsoever yet that we know about. They have been secretive with their Project Titan, but I don't know, that they've got no skin in the game as far as I can see at this point. Nobody knows about it, but they made it to the chart. So it's interesting to see this breakdown of the different manufacturers and who would be trusted to put autonomous vehicle on the road first.
I'm surprised that Cadillac was lower than Chevrolet, despite being the same company,
Yeah,
and Cadillac would have it first because it's more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
people are weird,
they
man.
have Super Cruise in there now, right? But I don't think a lot of people know that Cadillac and Chevy are both GM companies. So maybe those two should be added together.
Yeah, they should.
And where would that put them on the chart? Can you pull that chart back up?
Sure. Let me pull it back up.
Let's add that extra 7% to whatever the Chevy number was, and That will that get them above Toyota?
Yeah.
Yes, it would. Yeah. So
Toyota
really,
shouldn't even be there. They don't have any autonomous anything. They've got radar crews and a little ping pong thing if you get to the edge of the lane.
right. I mean, and those are good level 2 features, which is not what fully autonomous is about, but
Right.
it's really what. How much faith do you have in this brand to deliver this?
Okay,
It's
I'll give them that. I would trust most of these brands to actually do something with it.
yeah, like it's not something based on current performance. This is something based on what these brands people believe they're reliable in the first place. So
Mm-hmm.
Hockey has some good points. Toyota had something good for the Olympics, and of course, Apple Maps continue to be the butt of all jokes.
That's true. Yeah, maps are sort of important in this case. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing
Here's
about
another
Tesla doing all theirs in the open, right? So Tesla does a lot of this development,
Yeah.
and everybody gets to see their warts, and
Yeah.
yet they're still number one on the list, and that's surprising. When
For trust, despite all the
yeah.
people saying you can't test with me, I'm a guinea pig.
Right.
You're a drunk pedestrian.
And although they did smack AI Addict's hands, there's a
They
lot
did.
of people that are out there posting videos. Here's a 3-hour drive, and here's what I did wrong at this time and this time and that time, and the critics are all cutting out just those bad moments and making highlight reels. And you don't point at yourself when I say
Oh no,
that.
no, I'm out there making long videos. I'm not making
Right.
critic videos.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So it is interesting to see they're still number one, even though they're doing everything so out in the open.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Mark.
came across this other video this weekend about a company called Talon Minerals. Now, Talon is working with Rio Tinto, which is another large mining company. Actually, they've got operations here in Canada. And Talon is looking, they have a deal with Tesla to supply nickel from a new mine that's going to be, they wish it to be open in Tamarack, Minnesota. So this would be nickel that is being pulled out of a North American mine ethically. And the nickel find in that area of Minnesota is a very high content nickel. So unlike some general nickel that has to go through a lot of processing in order to get the nickel content up, this comes out of the earth with that high amount, and less processing has to be done to the actual mineral in order to get it into batteries of vehicles. So obviously Tesla is excited about this because that's the name of the game. We used to think it might be lithium that would be the problem, but it turns out that it was cobalt to begin with, and then Tesla eliminated most of that through another chemistry shuffle, and now it's nickel. And nickel is the one that is going to be the problem for the short foreseeable future, anyways, with what's going on with Russia. Nickel content has been reduced dramatically from the world market because no one's taking anything from Russia these days, rightfully so. And we have to pay that price because about a third of nickel world reserves are not being touched now. So this is good to see. This video that we have attached in the notes is one from MSNBC, and it's worth a watch. It's about 19 or 20 minutes, and just kind of gives you a good overview of what's going on with nickel mining and what can happen in North America. And of course, it gives you both sides. It's talking from the mining side of things as well as the environmental side of things, as people in Minnesota are concerned about drinking water and such, and how a nickel mine could affect that or may not affect it at all. So it's good to watch, though, and give yourself a little bit of understanding about this type of mineral that is required for EVs.
Yeah, if
They're
you
already
haven't
doing
heard
that,
of
Hacky Day.
if you haven't heard of Tamarack, it's because it has a population of 94.
Oh wow!
Yeah, not exactly a bustling metropolis.
Yeah, and if someone goes to Walmart, it drops to 93.
Right.
Walmart
Yeah.
is not in town. I can tell you that.
Right. When summer vacations can have a noticeable percentage change in your population, you're small.
Shoot, even school trips.
Right.
The town population cut in half when they went down to the football game.
Now, of course, that raise in prices that we've seen lately, and of course, lack of supply that we've also seen, that kind of
Mhm.
leads into our next story. And this one touches on Tesla China. They're experiencing the same things that we are here in North America. We've got longer wait times, and we've got prices that are increasing. And Tesla is now getting new people who sign up for a car to sign basically a contract indicating they will not resell that car in under a 1 year period, because we've got
Hmm.
car scalping going on in China. And there are people that are buying multiple vehicles at once, and then they're offloading them after they pick them up from the showroom, and putting a profit on each one, and making some money, and putting down a deposit on another group of vehicles. So
Yep.
it's basically the eBay reseller thing that's going on, but with
Scalpers.
actual whole cars. Don't think that's happening in North America, as far as I can see.
Not as bad.
We have seen a lot of price increases incrementally, 1,000 here, 500 here, another 1,000, another 1,000. So, you know, and if someone's waiting 10 months to get a vehicle, depending on the number of price increases that went through over that 10-month period, it can add up. But this is something that Tesla is doing in China only at this point, and I'm kind of not surprised if they can. They certainly don't want this to become something where only elite people purchase the vehicles, put on a markup, and then resell it at a higher price shortly after. That's not something that Tesla would like to see happening with their vehicles. They don't want to be the stub hub of vehicles.
Right.
They'd much rather sell the vehicle to the customer themselves, as opposed to somebody getting a markup and moving them multiply that way.
And it's not just Tesla. A friend of mine who's really into Ford was complaining about Tesla doing this. But Ford did this. They requested their dealers to not allow to make this basically the same agreement in English with the customers that are buying the Ford Lightning from the dealers. Now, if the dealers actually comply is a whole other question because of the way that the dealer situation is set up over here. But they also have requested that the dealers not do any of their shenanigans uh, as well. And again, we'll see who participates. But Ford has also threatened their supply if they do that as the dealer, whether or not they ask the customer to not be flippers or scalpers or however you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Uh, Here's a change that's happening in the U.S. Until recently, if you had a reservation in on any of the cars, and you decided for whatever reason that the white color wasn't good for you halfway through the waiting of the reservation period, and black would be a better color for you, what would happen is you would be kicked out of queue. Your white vehicle would be reassigned to somebody else, and you would then appear at the back of the line. And of course, if there's been any update in pricing that's happened in that period, you would be affected by that new pricing to get your black vehicle. So it was very disadvantageous. It was very, you did not want to leave the line if you were in for a number of months, and then you would be put back at the back of the line and have to start over again.
Hmm.
But here actually just in the US, so keep that in mind, just in the US, you will now be able to change your configuration somewhat, and not lose your spot. So this is a good step forward, because of course we know that people sometimes, when they're pressed into the position of making a decision quickly, and like a lot of people with Teslas are, I got to get in for the next price increase. I want my order starting to roll, and then they start to think about it later and maybe want to change the color. Maybe you want to get the different set of rims. This is going to allow them a little bit more ease of thinking as time goes on. So that's a plus, and I hope to see this roll out to other countries as well.
Before you try that, since this is still new, if you're in line, contact your delivery specialist and say, hey, this is what I want to do. What's it going to do to my timeline? And guarantee me this isn't going to mess with my pricing. Once it's smooth, click away. But it's to the point where if you actually had your order in before a certain time frame, even like they've removed the button from your account just to make sure they really don't screw you over. So
right, August 1st, 2021.
There it is.
So it's you have to have ordered after that date to be able to use this feature right now.
Yeah.
And if you've ordered before that, they've taken away the edit design button altogether.
Yep. And then even, like I said, even if you do have the button, before you mess with it,
double check. Definitely.
Yeah. Especially if you've been waiting in line for 9 months.
Yeah. Give a screenshot.
Point, Casey. Why bother risking it when this is a new feature? Yeah, absolutely.
We haven't always seen them have a smooth rollout of new features. Usually they do okay, but not always.
Speaking of new features, have either of you guys seen a new feature about a Model S that shows that it can fly now? Anyone
yes!
I've heard the new Roadster is going to do that, but I haven't heard anything about Model S.
Yeah, apparently Model S's that are rented on Turo have a fly option that I was unaware of. But yeah, this happened over the weekend. We had a pilot, not a driver, a pilot decide that he was going to rent a Turo Model S, and for clicks, looks like, was going to hit basically a ramp that is on a Los Angeles road surface that we've seen in previous videos, I believe, with a Model X jumping the same area. But go ahead and press play on this, Casey, and get a load of what this guy does. So he gets the green light to go. There's nobody on the other side, he's told. And he ramps this thing up. And proceeds to crash it into 2 parked vehicles and a bunch of trash cans.
A couple of recycle bins, too. There was a stolen...
What an absolute idiot. Like,
yes.
Is, like, as you saw the car go over the hump and the front end dives, like, just because it's not evenly distributed weight, obviously. The front end just dives, slams into the ground, destroys the car, destroys some parked cars that were down at the bottom of the hill, and then promptly posts it on his YouTube and TikTok.
I don't know that the driver's the one that posted it. There was
a whole crowd of people there. So obviously the person that was doing this let people know he was going to do it at a certain date and time, and there was a whole bunch of people that were filming it.
Yeah, they had just left a Tesla meetup, Tesla club, or just a group of Tesla owners. And then he said, hey, guys, come over here and let's see something cool. And so the 75D was never advertised as having anything near a 50-50 weight distribution. So like all the stuff you see about it being a brand new Plaid, it's the 75D pre-refresh. It just got the nose cone out. So
yeah, and now that nose cone is someplace else.
Right. It was rented, and they stole a cat. There was a stray cat they just had in there with them. The cat apparently was okay, and the people took off.
So when you rent something on Turo, you have to give them your identification, and so it's not going to be hard to track these idiots down.
Right. The car didn't catch fire. If your renter of your Tesla Model S is missing, it's a blue 75D. Dear Tesla, where's my car?
What a terrible shock to find out that was my car in the video.
Yes.
Oh, I can't imagine that.
Yes, the thing that made this car stop sliding down the hill was a Subaru Forester. That guy apparently didn't have insurance, so he started a GoFundMe to get his car replaced. And this road that they've done this on now with the S and the X, it is a one-way road. The direction that it travels is opposite of where you've seen them traveling. I'm wondering now if it's time to add some speed bumps or some one-way spike strips.
Yeah, something. Yeah. So the guy who had the Subaru, he included in his GoFundMe campaigns a video from one of these bystanders, and that bystander then uh, sent a copyright violation for using his video. The guy is trying to. This is evidence
Yeah,
at this point.
it
He's
is.
trying to use it to show what happened to his car. He's not just doing it for clicks to steal your YouTube revenue. So
Right.
I thought that was kind of a jerk move for whoever
He
sent
did
this
give
copyright
him.
strike.
He did
against
give
him.
them in kind of like a jerky way. He gave him $2,000 to the GoFundMe and said, "This is probably all I'll ever make on the video." It's like you could have just said, "Here, I'm sorry about this happened to you." It didn't have to make all the comments.
I don't know.
David said
It's
close it, but this is people live on this street, so you'd have to find another way to get these people into their homes without bulldozing another house or two to make the new roads.
Right. So some
and of course,
chicanes or something.
and of course, most people use the road fine. It's just
In the direction
these,
it's supposed to travel, at the
these
speeds
two
it's supposed
idiots, that have done this over the past year. We just got to find who they are and prosecute them to the full extent of the law.
Well, the first one was
has to
David
happen there.
Dobrik
So
for his YouTube channel.
Yeah. Hopefully,
and
surprisingly, this is horrible, but hopefully it acts as a deterrent.
Right.
I bet you it reduced the number of Teslas on Turo.
I think so. Also, I mean, when you think about it, this is a 75D. It's even if they purchase the speed boost, most Model 3s and every Tesla they build today is more performant than that. And you can see the amount of damage this car did. Imagine
Right.
if they had. I mean, and the one that Dobrik took was a Model X P100D, but they also didn't do a full send. So this could have ended
Tesla
up.
does
People
not
could have been
make slow
killed.
cars.
Right,
Yeah.
right. People
Yeah.
could have been killed. They obliterated a couple recycle bins and trash cans and destroyed this guy's Subaru. Imagine if there was traffic at the end of the street and the Subaru wasn't there. It would have been a mess.
Yeah.
And then the people
or somebody
underneath
was
it.
crossing the street or
Right,
putting out
right.
their trash or
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
And then you had all the bystanders that were filming as you see the cross view.
Yeah. Can you imagine if the car had swerved before it hit the ramp?
Right. The Model
like-
S weighs a minimum of 4,500 pounds. Most of them were around 48, and some of them were more, like the P100Ds were more. That's a lot of tonnage coming down. And,
Yeah. 2.5 tons.
yeah.
Well, let's not leave tonight without showing some hope for Austin. And Patrick, you probably saw this, but there was a photograph taken by the Drone Army outside of Giga, Texas, showing a new color has appeared. So we've got the first white that has been manufactured there and is now in line. And boy, that is a small photo, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you do zoom in, it's definitely a white Model Y that has been produced. So
Look at all the ones on the side, looking like they're going to like a black tie event.
exactly. And you notice against the Gigafactory, you can see there's now a bank of superchargers that are sitting just underneath the windows.
They look absolutely tiny.
Those are superchargers that
Oh, wow.
prefabs that were put into place.
Oh, nice.
So and we can't see too many solar panels on this roof shot, but
Derek says,
solar
why did
panels
they run
are
out of black paint?
Yeah, it's just it's they didn't paint it; they just rolled it out. So we are hoping that, and there was a story just released on our Twitter feed, which is at the Tesla Life. If you don't know or aren't subscribed already, that there was another car carrier of assorted colored Model Ys that left Austin just today. So hopefully, maybe that truck's going to Colorado. The report we had of a person that was going to take delivery in Colorado. So
Nice.
We'll have to see. But we are expecting deliveries any hour. And it's certainly, we think, is something that should be starting soon. And Patrick was hoping it would have started just a smidgen sooner than.
That's right. Yep. So close.
All in good fun, though. All in good fun.
Yeah.
We're going to have 2 factories up and running and rolling cars out shortly. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel here. Give us a thumbs up. That's a big help for us, both of those actions. And also through the week, you can follow our updates on our Twitter feed at The Tesla Life, as well as our Facebook feed, Tesla Life #1. And we thank Patrick for monitoring the Facebook and keeping that up and running. We thank Casey for keeping our live meetings going here. We appreciate that. And with that, Casey, what do you got going on this week on your channel?
Well, I've still got to get the video together for the lithium retrofit, as well as the partially recycled HEPA filter. That'll be coming soon on the channel. I've got my situation situated with the editing rigs, and you'll find that at youtube.com/CaseyGreen. That's KACEYGREEN.
Give Casey a follow and a like there for sure. Patrick, any parting words from you this week?
As always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net, where you can find out about all of the stuff we have going on here and my pursuit of a future free from fossil fuels.
Snuck it in at the end. Love it.
Couldn't translate it to German.
There'd probably be one word there.
You can work on a southern drawl for next time. So we'll do that Austin one.
Y'all come back now.
With that, we want to thank you all for watching. And why don't you join us next week? And together we will find out what's going on in the Tesla life. Thank you, Lee Moon, for the music.
Tesla Lieben.
Have a great week.